Hello everybody, welcome to the College X360 channel. Today we're going to talk about Xbox because this interview is going viral right now. So Asha Sharma is the CEO of Xbox. It says over here Xbox. So they probably have rebranded Microsoft Gaming to simply Xbox. And it's in caps. Weird. So she listened to the Twitter mob. Anyway, so this interview is going viral because of one quote. But I'm gonna go ahead and do a little reaction here because it has some nuggets of information, and I'm gonna cut in and out a little bit here because it needs to be transformative. So let's get on with it.
You're 100 days in.
100 days in.
It hasn't been uneventful. You haven't wasted a second.
Wild.
Gamers have gone from saying you were going to kill Xbox to putting your face on Jesus memes. How would you describe the first 100 days?
You know, there is nothing that can prepare you for, taking on a new role in a new industry, being a first-time CEO, and having hundreds of millions of people having an opinion about you without ever talking to you. And so I think it's been wild. I think it's been wonderful. I think it's been weird, and everything in between. But, for my first 100 days, I really just wanted to learn and listen. I felt like my first job as CEO of Xbox was just to understand the soul of Xbox, to understand the soul of what makes.
If you don't know what Xbox is, and you don't know the soul of Xbox, you are in deep trouble, bro. Because you have to understand the video game industry before you say, hey, what is Xbox? What is the soul of Xbox?
Art, to understand the soul of creating, understand the soul of the platform, and kind of what made us great for the first 25 years.
You were a surprise pick for CEO. Phil Spencer, your predecessor, 20-year veteran, super passionate fan base. You're not a gamer, came from Instacart, Meta, Microsoft AI. Tell me about that call from Satya. How surprised was
Satya believes in AI. That's why she was picked. Nothing more, nothing less. One more thing. She is a DEI hire. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. But we'll just let her talk.
Yeah, I would say no one was probably as surprised as I was when I got that call.
No.
I didn't know we had the right person on the line, but
did you try to talk him out of it?
I tried to understand it. Look, like it's one of those things when we're all every day working on an AI, it's hard to see past it, right? We started with a model launching every 6 months, and now it was launching every 6 weeks and every 6 hours in some cases. And so it took a moment to just pick my head up and say, what is this all about? And then you see, oh gosh, over 1 billion people play on Xbox every single year. 70% of Americans spend at least 1 hour every single week gaming. And all of my career, I picked the things that I worked on because I deeply cared about the thing that I was going to go solve with technology, whether it was helping to make sure that every single retailer would have a chance to fight against Amazon with Instacart, or private communication and preserving that and protecting that all around the world with messaging, or helping people take care of their homes. And so in this case,
okay, I don't know where she's getting this idea that 1 billion people or 1 billion gamers are playing the game. Well, that is a bit, I don't know how you explain it. Brainwashy, kind of. messaging. Because if it was that big, you wouldn't be in this predicament. Because you have PlayStation, which has sold 500 million consoles every generation. And here you are, you're pumping your chest and saying you're a big market share, and that's not the exact truth. Because let me explain this in simple terms, okay? PlayStation, okay? When you sell PlayStations, you're not selling, like, when you're going to a customer, you're not selling the PlayStation. You're selling the games that comes with it. So when you sell on retail shelves, when you sell PlayStation on something like Amazon and any of the retail stores, any of the online retail stores, if you sell a PlayStation on that store, you're not really selling the console itself. You're selling an ecosystem. PlayStation is sold at a loss. So your job as CEO of Xbox is to technically put the console at home. Okay? That's your first job. Because PCs, as you can see back there, I don't know if you can see that, it's right here. PCs are not technically sold at a loss because everything is like pre-packaged if you buy a pre-built, but the parts that come with it, those are sold like individually, and they're not like loss leader kind of products. The loss leader products are the PlayStations and the Xbox, because you as a manufacturer, you have to pay the chip makers this amount of money, and then the consoles have to reflect that number. Okay, so if you sell 100 million Xbox consoles, like the Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 is Microsoft's best selling game console of all time. They have never been able to recover from that. Okay? Xbox One was revealed in 2014. I don't remember. I don't care. That's not my point. My point is, they revealed it, and Don Matrick went up there and said, hey, this is a digital only in-game console, and we're forcing you to do this and this and this and this and this. And then it came with a camera. It came with all this bell and whistles that we never asked for. Nobody asked for like a cable box. Nobody. All we asked for is a game console. That's it. But Microsoft made it so complicated that Xbox One fell on its face the day of reveal. Never could recover. Because after an Xbox One, they came out with Xbox Series consoles and then made the issue even worse than the Xbox One. Because you have one console that is a cheaper model, and the other one is a like a PlayStation 5. um, I liken the idea of Xbox Series S as a Nintendo Switch. Okay, so you got that problem because for the most part, the Xbox Series consoles were pretty good. It's doing exactly what a PlayStation 5 console is doing. The problem is Xbox Series consoles were held back by Xbox Series S. Okay? So if you are releasing a game for Xbox Series X, then you have to have a S backwards compatibility mandate. Microsoft made a mandate that both version of Xbox Series has to have feature parity. That means that co-op games could not get 100% backwards compatibility with Xbox Series X and S. So games like Halo Infinite was released in bad state and axed. Okay? So they threw it out in the trash or whatever, what you call it. So that was the problem. Here, she's not understanding that Xbox is in a bad spot. Hello?
Ace, I think that gaming is culture. It is entertainment in many ways. If you think about some of the top shows in the world right now, they are games that turned into TV series or movies.
And Fallout number one.
I think that
Amazon.
Fallout's number two of all time. Minecraft was number 5 at the box office when it came out. So it just feels like the world is going through such a change, and it's a consequential time, and we've got great people working on AI to help enable every enterprise, and I wanted to take on something that could help the world continue to be entertained and help them play.
So let's talk about the numbers. Gaming revenue last quarter was $5.3 billion, down from 5.7 a year earlier. Hardware revenue down 33%. The Switch 2 and PS5 are outselling Xbox by some metrics. When you walked in on day one and looked at it, what was the most uncomfortable thing you saw?
Look, the gaming industry is going through a hard time. It's not unlike any other consumer industry with when COVID hit, demand pulled forward and then, growth slowed after that. And in our case, we were not immune to that, and we have not been immune to that. I think the last generation product has particularly been a hard time. I think the most uncomfortable and surprising thing for me is what is happening in consumer electronics that we're not really talking about. I think that usually what happens at this point in a generation is your costs come down, right? Memory, storage, etc. Well, with AI, memory and storage costs are going up 2.75x rather than 50% down. Just in my first 100 days, it's up 50%, and I think it will continue to go up. And so the biggest challenge and opportunity is how do you make affordable products during that time? And that's what the next 100 days.
That is Satya Nadell's fault. Okay? He believes in AI so much that he will go out there and glorify AI, and they will contract out servers and get this, okay? AI servers cost $1 billion to either make and host, continue, maintain, operate every month. So she is making excuses at this point. I think this is a softball question by Bloomberg here, but I don't blame them because they did bring up the Nintendo Switch 2 and the PlayStation 5 outselling Xbox 2-1. I just think she doesn't understand what's going on, because the Xbox division should have been more successful than it is. Okay? Now I'll tell you why. If you just release a console, no bells and whistles, like the holding back of technologies, and the fact that Xbox One is a cable box, nothing more, and then on top of that, the Windows bloat problem. We'll get to that in a second, okay? So let me just keep going.
Will be about.
So, Project Helix, the next Xbox. Can you show me how big it's going to be, like with your hands, maybe?
No.
No.
But for this to pay off, it's going to have to be pretty expensive for all of the reasons that you just mentioned. Do gamers still care enough to
I think
shell
it's
out
expensive if we do not innovate, and I came to help that problem. I think that, look, it is natural that prices go up every generation around us.
No. You just said before that the prices naturally come down in the console space, and now you're saying the prices are they are naturally gonna go up. No. She's contradicting herself just as much as Phil Spencer and everybody else in Microsoft is doing.
Raising prices, but I don't think you can raise prices through the hardware crisis that we're seeing, and so it will require fundamental change in terms of how we innovate and how we think about the business models and how we go bring this to market, and we're working on that.
Do you think Xbox is still selling consoles mainly in 2030?
So look, the console market is stable and it's core to who we are, but at the same time, there's a lot of other growing markets. And so we're certainly going to continue to put out great reference experiences, but we're also going to push into new spaces. Microsoft owns Windows. Windows is one of the largest gaming platforms in the world. It has long had more players and more hours than any other platform.
That, again, is another lie. Because Windows, she's correct. Windows is a big platform. It is a big platform. But the Windows stores itself, that ecosystem is smaller than Steam. But what she's talking about is the cloud platform, the Xbox Game Pass, the when you have a TV like this, that's going to be a Xbox app right over here to give you Xbox game mode. And they're working on that. The problem is it's early stages, early beta phase, whatever you call it, and mostly it's Xbox Game Cloud infrastructure for the most part. But what she's saying is the Game Pass model is what keeping Xbox afloat. And there is a cult of Xbox fans out there right now vocalizing their support for Xbox. So that's why they're keeping afloat. But for the most part, Xbox is failing. It is in dire straits. Microsoft and the actual shareholders of Xbox / Microsoft, what they've been saying is that they want Microsoft to either shut down Xbox or spin off Xbox to sell off to another um, game company or something, some another investor, whatever. There's rumors about that, and they're calling these leaks liars, and that's not what it is. You'll see in a few seconds, because that's what she's talking about here.
I think it's going to have a lot of dollars associated with that in the future too. Mobile, we own Candy Crush. We have incredible worlds and characters that can meet the next generation where they are. And so, look, I look at console as core, and I look at our responsibility to not only serve that really well and get that healthy, but to also look at bringing the next generation online.
The Switch 2 is having a huge year. You know, what are your learnings from the first generation of Xbox handhelds, and would you ever build your own, or do you not need that category?
Look, I think that there's a lot of interesting things to think about when it comes to how do you actually meet players where they are. I think handheld is just a way to take your games on the go with you, and so that can happen on mobile, that can happen on with Asus, which is our partner on handhelds, that can happen on all gaming handhelds.
She's selling the handheld. I don't think it's gonna work. I'll tell you why. Because Asus, great partner to Microsoft, I'll give them that. Here's the problem. Handhelds is a market share that is held by Nintendo and has been like that since before Nintendo even considered going into home consoles and the Game Boy. Long before that, there's Game & Watch, there's handhelds that they experimented for many years. So Nintendo owns the market. Nobody has the market like Nintendo. Nobody. Okay? Sony is the best competitor in that space. Xbox has a long way to go before it ever becomes that one de facto handheld. Okay? And I don't think it's gonna work with Asus for the reason that I stated about Windows being bloated. Because for the most part, Asus ROG Ally X is running on a stripped down Windows platform, but it has Xbox game mode in there. It has the cloud stuff going on in there. I'm not too versed on Asus ROG Ally as much as a lot of the Xbox gamers are, but my point is, the reason why people buy Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS and Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy, the reason why people buy them is they press the button, the power button, and they just play the console, the handheld, the game. They just go in, boom, 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 boom. With Xbox ecosystem, and Linus did a video about this. I'm gonna put that at the end of this video so I can demonstrate what the problems are, because it has to do with the ROG Ally. Because most of the time, what Xbox is selling is bad user interface, and that user interface is not user friendly, if that makes sense. It's not user friendly. Okay? So, yeah.
I think what's clear is the next generation plays a lot, and they see play as the most important form of entertainment to them. And a console is great when you're at home, and we're going to have to look for other ways to help serve that audience.
One of the most controversial things you did, first few weeks on the job, you kill Copilot in gaming. Satya has literally said multiple times, Microsoft is a Copilot company, Microsoft's trying to put Copilot into everything. How hard was it to make that call? And what did he have to say about it?
So, like, one of the first commitments I made was future of play. And I said, look, we're not going to we're going to be really thoughtful about how we ship AI. My job is to think about where we invest, what we prioritize, and how we operate. And our console players aren't excited about that experience in their console. Now, do I believe in AI? Absolutely. I think neural rendering is a great opportunity for us to invest in that. It helps upscale. It's helping with the footprint on your device so you can get better graphics. There's a lot of things that AI can be really great at. I think that we have to make sure it's solving a problem if we put it out there for gaming, and so I made that call.
So Satya was cool with that? Or?
It was an Xbox decision. He's given me latitude to make the best decisions for our players.
Well, how much latitude?
Satya better stand by on that, because if they push AI in there in the Xbox, a lot of people are gonna bring backlash, okay? Because as far as we know it, all we want to do is go into the user interface, and then play the game. That's all we want to do. We don't want to have this little toolbox down there that says Copilot. To be fair, some game companies are implementing their version of Copilot. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 just got revealed recently, and they put like a interface down here that has presets for weapons. So you go down here, it tells you what loadouts there is gonna be, and you can cycle through it. And those setups are made by AI. That's what she's talking about. But the problem is, a lot of people don't want that. They want the idea that Modern Warfare 4 is coming with the gunning system. They want that, but they don't want the idea of AI hovering over your shoulder and saying, what do you want? Do you want this? Do you want that? It's a whole mess. On top of that, AI is pretty much in newer Call of Duty games. I did a video about this a few years ago about texture streaming and how Modern Warfare servers have like this ghost AI predicting where your shots are gonna go. That's another AI idea. So game companies are doing half of this issue, are solving problems in this area. So it's gonna happen, but I think what she's saying is she doesn't want AI to be intrusive enough to be off-putting. That's what she's saying. But good call by Asha Sharma. I don't know how far Satya is gonna allow for the latitude that she explains about. Let's just keep going.
Elsewhere do you have, there's this idea that Microsoft wants to sort of extract software kind of revenues out of a gaming business, which, may not be possible. Do you have more breathing room when it comes to the financials?
Yeah, so my mandate is not 30% accountability margin. It's not enterprise software margins. It's to be the #1 gaming and entertainment company, and that's what we're gonna go do. If you think about it, Microsoft has invested more aggressively than nearly anybody in this category over the last 6 years. We've bought Activision and ZeniMax. We've invested in our core platform. We've invested in hardware cycles. We invest in subsidies even when we're losing money because of memory and storage. And so we're long on gaming. We're long on Xbox. We'll keep investing, but we've got work to do. You shared the numbers. We're not in a healthy spot. And so, next 100 days is going to be about resetting the business.
And there you go. That's the viral quote. Okay? So, she's going to bring up Activision and the $70 billion investment. Just hold on. So, resetting the business, what she's talking about here, hold on here. What she's talking about, dude, I pressed K.
Anybody in this category over the last 6 years. We've bought Activision and ZeniMax. We've invested in our core platform. We've invested in hardware cycles. We invest in subsidies even when we're losing money because of memory and storage. And so in our core platform, we've invested in hardware cycles. We invest in subsidies even when we're losing money because of memory and storage. More aggressively than nearly anybody in this category over the last 6 years. We've bought more
extract software kind of revenues out of a gaming
Okay,
business.
right there. Sorry, guys.
Possible. Do you have more breathing room when it comes to the financials?
Yeah, so my mandate is not...
Okay, my mandate is not 30% accountability. What she's talking about is, like, when you sell a console, there has to be a profit margin of profitability. Okay? So, if you're going to sell a console for $500, your profit has to be at least 20 to 30% of that profit margin. I don't know if you heard what I said. So, if you're selling a console for $500, Microsoft expects at least 20 to 30% profit margin. There is none of that. You lose 30% of the profit from every console sold because you have contracts with chip makers. Every piece in here is a chip. And then there's a motherboard. Graphics chip, RAM chips, CPU chip, and other miscellaneous chips. And then there's the cooler. There's I don't know. But my point is, you have to pay the chip makers those money. So that's what she's talking about. But hold on, let me continue here.
Not 30% accountability margin. It's not enterprise software.
Microsoft is known as a enterprise software company. Okay? So in other words, every time you buy a Windows license as a enterprise company, they charge you. Okay?
Our margins is to be the number one gaming and entertainment company. And
they're going to have to sell 100 million copies of the Xbox console to be at this stage, what she's talking about. Because Nintendo Switch sold 144 million copies of the console itself. And then PlayStation 5 is at least 90 to 100 million copies sold. So you have to scale up. Microsoft is not anywhere close to that number. Not with Xbox Series, not with Xbox One, none of it. It's not happening. ROG Ally X is not selling that much either because it is meant as a premium game console. Nothing more, nothing less. And most of the consoles that are on the market today is around the $800 to $900 mark. The worst one, the worst offender is ROG Ally X. So I don't see that happening unless they have a shoestring budget game handheld.
that's what we're going to go do. If you think about it, Microsoft has invested more aggressively than nearly anybody in this category over the last 6 years. We've bought Activision and ZeniMax. We've invested in our core platform.
But what are you doing with those properties to expand the market? What are you doing? Let me put it another way. Call of Duty. If I'm Microsoft, my first move is not to put Call of Duty onto Game Pass in the short term or the first move. Okay? My job is to sell more copies of Call of Duty games. Okay? That's how you make your money back. Not putting it on Game Pass day one. Because for the most part, Game Pass is a buffet. You ever been to a Asian buffet? That's what it is. So, every time a restaurateur come in, they pay you like $50 for 4 people. $20 a person. And when you get out of there, you ate several $100s in food. Where's the profit margin in that? So you have to bring in at least 20 to 50 customers per hour in order for that buffet to sell, because that's recurring revenue. Microsoft does not have that with Game Pass. They just don't. They just have 1 million customers, sometimes more, and that number, it keeps going down because of the lapse grace period. Does that make sense? So every year you pay $100 for Game Pass, and then you have a choice of canceling it or continuing the last grace period. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here.
invested in hardware cycles. We invest in subsidies even when we're losing money because of memory and storage. And so we're long on gaming, we're long on Xbox, we'll keep investing, but we've got work to do. You shared the numbers, we're not in a healthy spot. And so, you know, next 100 days is going to be about resetting the business.
Let's talk about Activision. Microsoft paid $70 billion, $69 billion for Activision Blizzard, largest gaming acquisition in history. There have been layoffs, game cancellations, Game Pass prices have gone up rather than down. You inherited this deal. Is it paying off?
No.
So look, I mean, I don't know anybody in entertainment who wouldn't want Call of Duty, which is now grossing in more revenue than Marvel Cinematic Universe, who wouldn't want one of the top 3 apps in the world with Candy Crush, who wouldn't want World of Warcraft, and who wouldn't want a team that for 20 years has been able to create predictable hits every single year. So I love Activision Blizzard King. Look, it was bought at a time before ChatGPT. It was bought at a time before our strategy, when our strategy was predominantly on the core consoles. It was at a time when, you know, we were right in the middle of COVID. So
more excuses again. My first job as CEO of Microsoft, if I bought Activision, is to keep continuing the business, not changing the plan to put it on Game Pass. Because when you put it on Game Pass, you put strain on the financials. So you're giving money away to people who have never touched Call of Duty. So then they have more incentive of canceling the Game Pass and then leaving the door, out of the door. So we have multiple issues on Call of Duty right now. First one is hackers. Second one is AI, which I just talked about. The servers, which are trash. Microsoft is supposed to fix that problem because they have thousands and thousands and thousands of data centers. When I say that, I'm not trying to say AI data centers. I'm talking about regular server hosting companies. Regular server companies. Okay? So these servers are where Call of Duty games are hosted. And Microsoft could use that as a subsidy to keep the margins down. Because Activision, before the acquisition, they have to pay server payments before release of Call of Duty every year. So they make their money back on the profits from Call of Duty selling so well. So since Modern Warfare 2019, that profit margin has been going way down. So they can't do servers very well. They can't fix the hacker problem. They can't fix the exploit problem, the glitches and all that kind of stuff. So my Activision would have to keep the momentum going and going and going until somebody buys it. And at the acquisition, they were at the lowest point of their lifetime, and Microsoft kept losing money on that, and it's the developers' fault too. It's not just Microsoft; it's the developers. So, you know, Asha Sharma doesn't know what she's getting herself into with Activision, because Activision can sell Call of Duty games. They've been The problem is this. Microsoft's problem is the back and forth confusion. Okay? So when Activision was acquired, they said put it on Game Pass. Now they're saying, oh, we'll just pull back the support for Call of Duty on Game Pass for at least a year, and then we will put it on Game Pass, and then we'll sell the Call of Duty games. Dude, you need to keep the messaging straightforward. You can't just go ping pong back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No. That's part of the problem with the confusion. Okay?
Hard to say, how to think about those decisions, but I think these are incredible assets, and we intend to continue to invest in them.
Well, not one of your games, but Grand Theft Auto 6 is expected to be pretty big, outsell.
I'm very impressed you know these things.
I do have a 13-year-old son, as I said. Expected to outsell any game, movie, or album in history. You delayed Fable, in part in anticipation of this. What impact do you think this game is going to have on the industry? Like, do you see this as kind of a litmus test?
No, it's not a litmus test. No. You move your game out of the way. No, journalists, listen to me. No. You stay out of the way of Grand Theft Auto 6. You stay out of the way. That's what she did. She did that. No.
I think it's just one of the most important parts of culture at this point, and we want to make sure that we're fully supporting it. And so I'm excited to see how it does. I'm excited for the reactions. I'm excited to learn from it.
So the players didn't want Copilot, but how do you see AI changing gaming and game development in the future? Like, where does and doesn't AI belong when it comes to games?
Look, I think the biggest thing that I'm thinking about is how do we just make sure it's solving problems. On the game development side, I've gone to a lot of our studios, with big and small, and I'm blown away with how they're using AI in the production pipelines, how they're using it for iteration.
For those of you who don't know what she's talking about the mandate Microsoft made on all of the Microsoft teams. That includes gaming, anything that touches Microsoft. The main mandate is you have to use AI. You have to use AI or get fired. Satya is the cancer of Microsoft right now. And the shareholders are the cancer of Microsoft too. Microsoft has been the cancer of gaming for a long time. It's a pain in our asses as I see it. I don't see Microsoft evolving gaming the way it did Xbox 360. I don't see it. Because what they're going to do is destroy gaming as we know it. And it's been doing it for a long time. Most of the games right now are digital. Okay? You're not buying physical games anymore because Microsoft made it so mandated to be digital. And that's why Xbox One sold less. Xbox Series failed. That's why it happened. I don't see Microsoft as the light in the world for gaming. They are killing video games as we know it, and I don't like it. I don't fucking like it.
And prototyping. Look, that's not production ready. There's still work. And so, 30% of game development is software. And so there's the traditional applications that we see in enterprise. At the same time, I do not think AI will replace AAA games. I think it's entirely possible, though, that AI represents a new category of games and a new type of development and enables more people to create and participate. And we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see how we best serve that.
Your biggest competitors used to be, or maybe still are, Sony and Nintendo, but I don't know now. Is it Roblox or Netflix or TikTok? Like, who keeps you up at night?
Honestly, I think our biggest competition is attention, right?
That shouldn't be. That should not be. It should be. I buy a copy from you. You get $70. But the problem is, what she's saying is, Microsoft is competing against TikTok, Roblox, YouTube, cloud gaming, GeForce Now, what is that other one? Fortnite, Facebook, Instagram, but those are not your competitors. Those are not your competitors. It's the other game companies all across the world right now. Let me put it this way. The Saudis just acquired SNK, a niche game console manufacturer. If you ever played Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters, you know what SNK is. But the problem that I see from them is they're trying to take that marketplace and grow it a little bit more. Bigger. And then once they get big, they can make their own game console. That's why they bought SNK in the first place. It's the exact thing that Microsoft should have done in the first place. Because they're putting focus on the games. Microsoft is doing it in a different way. They're doing it from the perspective of player engagement and player participation. So this is what she said. Honestly, I think our biggest competition is attention right now. That should not be. $70? You give me this. $70? You give me this. $70? You give me this. But Microsoft is looking at it as you guys, me, as a number. So we're just a number in their checkbooks. That shouldn't be. Should be. You make game, you wrap it, you give it to us. I pay you $70, you can go fuck off. But that's not what they're doing. Okay? They're looking at Game Pass. Oh, let's put this game into the service, and then you give me both the $20 payment and then the time to play in the game. And that's what Call of Duty is doing also, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? So, yeah.
Now, the next generation's number one thing they want to do is play. So we've got that going for us. But the way that they consume is really different. They want it wherever they are. They want it in shorter bites. They want to be able to customize. They want an open ecosystem. They want a lot of different things than our...
See? Consumering. So, she's technically talking about TikTok right here. I don't know if you caught that. Short bites. Okay?
For user base. And so what's great is we have the characters in the world and the technology to be the best in the world and serve who we're serving, and we're going to have to invent new things to serve the next generation.
We talked about Fallout and, you know, your characters showing up in theme parks and movies. I waited in line for a really long time to go on a ride at Universal Studios. Like, it's, you know, is Xbox a gaming business with an entertainment side hustle, or are you an IP company?
I think at the end of the day, gaming is entertainment. And so I look at us as, at the core, we have to create great games. People spend 70 billion hours a year with us, and that gives us the right and the permission to then have great shows, have these great, you know, theme parks, have these great attractions. I don't think you can do that in reverse. Mm-hmm. And so at the core, we will always think about how do we make great games. And then increasingly, as people want to experience those worlds and characters outside of that, that's great, as long as it's authentic to that audience.
You just hired Matthew Ball, one of the most influential gaming analysts in the industry. I've interviewed him.
This guy is the biggest pain in our asses right now. We'll talk about him another time, but she'll talk about something.
Times. He is very critical. He's been very critical of Xbox's mistakes in particular. What are you hoping he tells you that others aren't?
Look, we're a challenger right now, and so we have to be uncomfortable and understand hard truths, and I think he's going to help us do that. At the same time, he's one of the most creative people that I've met. I don't think that there is a linear path to success here. I think we...
No, he wants to put ads in your video games, bro.
Need to take all of the learnings across entertainment, across gaming, across all of our collective histories. We have a lot of very tenured gaming leaders that are still on the leadership team, and we're going to need to find our way through it, and I think he's going to help us do that.
Mm-hmm. You've been labeled as not a gamer, but I know you have a gamer tag. Do you game now, and like how much time do you spend fiddling around with it?
Yes, I'm not a gamer, but I do play games now because that is our core way that we reach our audience. And so, again, in my first 100 days, I've been trying to learn, listen, and understand what makes this art form amazing. And what's interesting is there's a lot of people who are gamers that you never would have known until you start to pick up a controller. And so there's something about that. Look, when in a world in which everybody's attempting to automate the economy, there's something wonderful to just be able to escape and have memories and connect to something that you deeply care about and that's deeply personal, and I think that's what games do.
What do you think the future of exclusivity is? And, you know, for example, with Game Pass and, you know, the comparisons to Netflix, is it really going to get there? Like, where is all that going?
I think it's a tough topic. Look, we're the #2 publisher in the world, and in order to be a great publisher, you must have your games reach large audiences to play. At the same time, we're increasingly becoming a platform. In order to be a platform, you must have exclusive content and services. And so we're looking at that very closely. I think that we have to be very thoughtful about each title.
Stop it. Stop it. This is not the time to say, oh, we're going to make this game exclusive to Xbox. No. How are you gonna sell more copies? And you said it here. How many more people we're gonna play the game? You need right now. The biggest thing that Microsoft needs to do is sell more copies of the game. Not just make the game exclusive to Xbox, because that's just one platform. Okay? Well, there's multiple platforms like the Game Pass and the cloud gaming part, the ROG Allies, the devices stuff. But what I mean is Microsoft is in a very dire spot right now that they cannot afford to go exclusive with Xbox. I understand that exclusive sells console. I am a proponent of that. But this is not the correct time to do exclusives. Honestly. They were in the right direction when they sold Forza to PlayStation owners, and that made that game development break even. Okay? So if they make Forza exclusive on the next game, that game is going to be a failure. They just made Gears of War E-Day exclusive to Xbox, and that's the wrong move because the market is there in PlayStation. The problem is you just haven't marketed the game to the right people. You just need to make it prominent on PlayStation so that they can buy the game. But you haven't done that with Gears of War Reloaded. So you see the numbers, you go, okay, we'll just make it exclusive then. No, bro. That's, oh my god, dude. I get making Gears of War exclusive to Xbox when you can take a risk, when you can lose money. This is not one of those times. This is one of those times to be Activision. That's how I see it. Oops, sorry.
I think the first 100 days are going to be hard to beat in terms of the excitement, but the next 100 days is, look, we've done so much to start to revive Xbox. We've shipped more in the last 100 days than we. In order to be a great publisher, you must have your games reach large audiences to play. At the same time, we're increasingly becoming a platform. In order to be a platform, you must have exclusive content and services. And so we're looking at that very closely. I think that we have to be very thoughtful about each title on how we want to think about it and learn from similar cases in the industry. And that's what we're doing.
What do the next 100 days look like?
Well, I think the first 100 days are going to be hard to beat in terms of the excitement, but the next 100 days is, look, we've done so much to start to revive Xbox. We've shipped more in the last 100 days than we have in the last year. We've been able to reset Game Pass after an 8-month decline. It's now returned to growth and expanding revenue retention, and most of
there's that word again, retention.
Get back to being closer to our players and our community. I think the next 100 days, we have to reset the business. We need to look at how we're investing, how we're prioritizing, change how we operate in order to return to growth, in order to be where the world plays.
So it's 2030. You've had 4 years to run Xbox. What does success look like? What is true about Xbox that isn't true today?
I'd love to see us be the #1 gaming and entertainment company.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Thank you. You're a high.
So, back to what I was saying. I don't know how they're going to do this. I really don't. Because her last words was not nice. Look, hold on. Let me replay that one more time.
What do the next 100 days look like?
Let me remind myself.
I think the first 100 days are going to be hard to beat in terms of the excitement, but the next 100 days is, look, we've done so much to start to revive Xbox.
That's wrong. Because Xbox is dead, bro. There's excitement, but how are you going to sell more Xbox consoles when Xbox Series X consoles didn't sell so well? Or Xbox One? 2 generations. I would have pulled the plug a long time ago. But here's the thing. Hold on.
More in the last 100 days than we have in the last year. We've been able to reset Game Pass after.
That's another one. That's the wrong idea.
An 8-month decline. It's now returned to growth and expanding revenue.
That's wrong again.
Retention.
Retention. Another word.
Most importantly, we're starting to get back to being closer to our players and our community. I think the next 100 days we have to reset the business. We need to.
Okay, so when companies say that we have to reset our business, they mean shuttering parts of the company, maybe selling off. So the rumor is they either gonna shut down Xbox as it is, or they're gonna sell it and cut the workforce in half to be lean. So the other thing that happened just recently, the head of Xbox Game Studios, which is different from Xbox, the Xbox company, is Xbox Game Studios deals with the games. It shows right here, Xbox Game Studios. Okay, so the head of that division just left, and some of the staff left too. So they don't want to be. She said that she'll fire most of the people, and they said, okay, if that's the case, I don't want my head on that tombstone. I don't want my head on that list. I don't want my head anywhere close to that list of people getting fired. No. No. I do not want to be there. And I don't know. I don't know what she's going to do, but if I was Microsoft, I would have kept all the studios, have them do the third-party publishing, and then put them onto Game Pass when they can, and shutter the console business because it's not selling. The brand Xbox doesn't exist either. I would put it on Windows, and in fact, I would use Xbox like a Steam competitor. Instead, they're calling their Windows Store Microsoft Store. No, it should be Xbox Store. So, that's my opinion. Because I don't see the Xbox consoles selling. Project Helix sounds promising. It sounds nice, but I don't have any trust in Microsoft and the Xbox brand because the AI stuff and the mistakes with Xbox One and Xbox Series. I don't think they're gonna do exactly what they want to do the game console business. It's not gonna work. They would need like heavy hitters after heavy hitters after heavy hitters, and they have it with Gears of War. They have it with Forza. They have it with Halo. But the problem with those three brands is Gears has been on a downward spiral. Forza is selling. Halo is on the downward spiral, especially after Infinite. And they're going to have to do a great job in the next few years. That's where my contention comes in. I think they're going to have to clamp down on everything. Here's the video that I was talking about in the last video. Alright, So
25 years ago, Microsoft teamed up with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to announce the Xbox. And it was a powerhouse with a Pentium 3 processor and cutting-edge GeForce graphics alongside a lean, mean, slimmed-down Windows-based operating system that helped to push that hardware to its absolute limit. Which got everybody asking, why can't Windows be like that on my computer? And that was back then, when Windows RAM usage idled in the megabytes. Now you're lucky if you can get it under 4 gigs. And for what? Even the venerable Start menu is morphed into a bloated React-based web app. So what? I can Bing search my file names? The good news is, this seems to be changing, thanks in no small part to the incredible contributions that Valve has made to Linux PC gaming. They have done what no one else could and forced Microsoft to finally address the elephant in the room. And, to Microsoft's credit, they've done it with Windows Xbox mode, a lean, mean toggle that you can just flip to strip away the bloat and just focus on gaming. You don't even need a keyboard and mouse anymore to navigate. It's all controller, all the time, baby. At least in theory. In practice, Xbox mode might not be quite all it's cracked up to be. So before you fire it up and take a look, why don't we go through it together and have a look at the labs testing that our team did to see just how much bloat they managed to remove. One bit of bloat they couldn't remove is this segue to our sponsor.
Boot.dev, the best way to learn to code, and the subject of the award-winning fantasy, The Coding Chronicles. For the final episode and a special additional discount code, keep a close watch during the end of this video.
Performance aside, a key benefit of Xbox mode is the ability to get a console-like experience in a device that we already own. So why don't we see how seamless it really is, starting by signing in. Which, this is not actually what I was expecting. Oh, okay, we need to use a pin. There we go, okay. With the pin, yeah, this is pretty cool. So there's bindings for your D-pad, your shoulder buttons, and your face buttons, so that you can quickly enter your pin with a controller. Freaking love to see it. And we're in. Oh, man, it's good to see that logo again. Obviously, not everyone wants to be launched straight into a gaming interface, but if you do, it's as simple as toggling your system to launch directly into Xbox mode. I've actually been using this for a while on my battery-modded ROG Ally, and it's really nice how much stuff you can do now directly with your controller rather than relying on a keyboard and mouse. That's not to say that you can do everything, and in fact, apparently they've put together some challenges for me. Are you going to give me the keyboard in case I fail?
You're going to have to get the keyboard yourself. It's on that shelf up there if you can reach it, but if you touch it, you fail.
Up here, I got my settings, where I can manage my subscriptions, because they really want you doing that. This is nice. This is where you manage your library. This is probably one of the best things about the Xbox experience. I know it's been done 100 times in the past, but this is probably the most seamless that I've seen all of my multiple game libraries just automatically consolidated. First thing they want me to do is adjust system volume. Well, all they said was I didn't have to touch the keyboard. Normally I would have my, system remote, so I think I won. Okay, all right, I'll try not cheating. I have to admit I've never tried to do this. My Ally just has volume buttons on it, so, okay. Audio, I can see the point you're trying to make. That does seem like a fairly straightforward thing, but also I can see why it's not built in, because in almost no situation where I'm using a full screen experience would I necessarily need to adjust the volume. Then again, Steam Big Picture can do it, so. Is there a way to do it? Am I just missing it? There is a way to do it? Did they pull an Apple? Did they pull an Apple? Change system settings. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, buddy, let's go. This is not the way.
That's not the way that we expected, but that works.
Apparently this is not the way. Okay. Is it in the game bar? I bet it's in the game bar. Audio. Boom, boom, there it is. It's in the game bar. Found not one, but two ways. Accessibility and the game bar. I gotta confess that even in the Xbox experience, the game bar remains one of those aspects of using Windows that I just find high friction with. All right, now I gotta connect to a Wi-Fi network. Yeah, once again, I guess it's gonna want me to use the game bar for this. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, buddy. Okay. Get it together, Microsoft. This can't be a thing when I got this. I'm not touching it though.
See?
I'm gonna get close. But I'm not touching it. Can't see what I'm doing here. Oh man, where the devil's the O? Okay, here, what if I click it? Okay, there. Yeah, let's go. Oh yeah, buddy. Next challenge.
Try running hardware info.
I'm gonna assume that I can like add it as a game. Let's go. Play the hell out of that game.
As you can see, the
Okay,
user
was that something you guys were
interface
expecting?
is not
Oh,
up to
more
par.
options. Edit. Oh,
Just
okay.
hold.
Just
give me a second.
No, I do not want file picker. Close. There, okay. All right, I got out of that without touching the keyboard. Okay, I saw a thing here. More options. Edit. This is an app, okay? Yes. Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
He's getting annoyed.
Okay,
He's getting annoyed.
And this is possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's possible. Apparently Microsoft is adding a joystick to mouse thing, but it hasn't rolled out to everybody. I don't know what version of this they installed. Is it like a hardware info widget or something? Remember, this is a game. What does that mean? Gamepad cursor. Oh, there it is. Oh, sick. Oh, we're flying now, but now I can do anything. I mean, yeah, that should work. I don't know. Do you mean to count?
See?
Is this really
More
not going to work?
problems,
The
more
request is
problems,
not
and then more
supported.
problems.
There's a way to do it inside of Xbox mode.
There's a way to do it inside of Xbox mode. Bring up a keyboard, you butt. Do I really have to turn off gamepad cursor in order to get a keyboard? Stupid. Well, HW info is not in here. Oh man. Let me cook. Oh, hold on. Wait, what is this? I mean, sure, let's try that. Okay, I'm installing it. Sure. I'll install it better than you guys did, and then it will open. Launch hardware info. Here we go. Yes. Let's go. Hardware info launched. All right, next challenge. OpenLTDstore.com. Well, this is going to be too easy now. Oh, shut up. Not a big fan of how I don't get a keyboard when I have this enabled.
More annoying.
This is still in beta. I'm sure they're figuring that out. Well, here's a clunky way to do it. Boom. And was that how you expected me to do it?
Honestly, no. Your solution was pretty different from everything that Labs has done to solve these.
Now let's stop doing challenges and let's see how seamless it is launching a game, starting with Cyberpunk. This is a Steam game, clearly. I think you guys just saw it launch. And this is kind of a worst case scenario because it's got like a third-party launcher thing and Steam and the Xbox experience that you have to kind of fight your way through. I can also see that they helpfully reset it back to the initial launch experience where you have to like dismiss various pop-ups and whatnot. But here we are. Oh, come on! Boom. We're in. Consider your mainframe hacked. All right, I got one more challenge. Try enabling the game bar performance overlay. Bonus point. Options. Options. Okay, here's all the metrics and everything.
More annoyance.
Microsoft, honest bit of feedback. The world does not need more iPhone-like experiences. Let's let back just be back, not goodbye everything. Home button is home button. Back button is back button. Okay, this is interesting. Well,
More annoyances.
okay,
And then
I've
it
never
doesn't
seen it
stop.
think like this before. Shoot, I may have entered an unrecoverable state here. I can't believe I'm gonna lose going for the bonus point. Okay, hold on. No, hold on. No, I don't want to pin YouTube to the taskbar. Not now, Windows. This is exactly what people are using Xbox mode to avoid, Microsoft. Hold on. I just need to get my mouse back. If I can get my mouse back, I'm good to go. Oh, I got my cursor. Okay. Apparently I was on the right path when I did this. Like, it's gotta be here. Oh, not this again.
There you go. More
Crying out loud.
annoyances.
We're in the performance widget. Hello? Come on. Okay, so it's pinned. It's compact. Yeah, and like...
Reopen Cyberpunk?
Reopen it? Wait, what the crap? That's the way to do. That's crazy. So if I pin it and I have that, then it will work?
It should just work.
That's crazy. You know what, it doesn't matter. I think at this point we've done enough to talk about the overall experience. Seamless? No. Somewhat intuitive?
No.
Actually, other than the bugs, I would say they're mostly on the right path. For the third time now, promise this is the last time I'm going to mention it, they need to fix home and back functionality to be a clear home and back experience within the Xbox app. Other than that, bringing up the Xbox app interface, overall, pretty navigable. They do have to get some functionality from the non-compact mode baked into compact, but in most of these cases, I can really see where they're going with it. Keyboard pop-ups do need to be usable when you're using the cursor. Okay, there is quite a lot that needs to be addressed. But on the bright side, booting directly into Xbox mode saved us about 7 seconds of startup time. And we also found that by killing the desktop UI, on idle we're saving some memory compared to running standard full bloat Windows with the Xbox app on top of it. Now let's see if there's anything to gain while gaming. Under my desk are two systems. The one on the left is running Xbox mode, and the one on the right is using Steam Big Picture mode on top of regular old Windows 11. We're using Forza Horizon 5 because we wanted a very mature, native Game Pass game to give Xbox mode its best possible shot. Both of our systems are running a 9600X paired with a 5060 Ti and 16 gigs of RAM, so these are exactly the kinds of mid-range but modern systems where we might expect some gains.
Let's fire it up, shall we?
Both are running their own overlays, so we can't really compare these, but what we can compare is the results page at the end. So, one moment please. And they're the same. Or rather, they're not the same, but as we've talked about in the past, even if you buy the exact same hardware these days, because of dynamic frequency scaling, one system can perform a little different from another, and this one is about 3% faster than this one, so it's a wash. Which is a little disappointing, to be honest with you. We can actually prove this, by the way. Now everything's running in the background. Here, we can run it one more time. Now it's running full fat Windows. And there you go. Not what we were hoping for, but hey, maybe it's different on some of the other titles that Labs tested. Spoiler, maybe it's not. The Labs team tested at both 1080p and 1440p resolutions, and starting with F124 at ultra high preset with RT and VRS disabled, yeah, my thoughts exactly. We once again see no performance gains. And making matters worse, in exchange for this big fat zero performance gain, Labs noticed occasional issues, including window focusing problems, and even instances where F1 refused to boot in full screen mode at all. Bad. And unfortunately, Doom the Dark Ages went no better. On medium presets with no upscaling, we found no performance benefit between Xbox mode and the standard experience within the Abyssal Forest benchmark. A result that was repeated yet again in Cyberpunk 2077 at the Ultra preset with no upscaling and ray tracing off. Making matters worse, as you may have noticed earlier when Red Launcher popped up, Cyberpunk isn't native to Game Pass, and you actually need to use mouse emulation to boot the game. Or you can reach for a mouse, I guess. That is an option. But that wouldn't be very console gamer of you. One reason for this could be that Xbox mode, in its current state, doesn't leverage known launch flags, and it fully opens game launchers in the background, which kind of works against the idea of a seamless console-like experience. If you'd like to further review Labs' findings, check out the Labs companion article linked down below. Before you take off and do that though, it's worth discussing the fact that while Xbox game mode does not offer performance benefits, I still believe that it is a small step toward a larger goal that will be positive for gamers. Not that long ago, games were optimized for console first, often leaving PC players with buggy, unoptimized ports. That's because the low-level code for consoles needed to be rewritten into something that Windows could actually understand. This created the same kind of compatibility wall that Linux gamers faced before Proton came along. And PC gamers often had to wait months, years, or even forever for devs to manually scale that wall. Microsoft alone had 3 fragmented software development
System 32, Xbox, and whatever this system is. But System 32 is legacy. Xbox over here is what we have in Xbox, the way it is now. So what they're trying to do is merge these two together. Okay? That way, when they sell this code is over here. So when you buy a game on Xbox, it's using this system, but this uses the same system as this one. Because as it stands, 1, 2, 3 different platforms. And that costs more for the developers of game companies like let's say Ninja Theory, Capcom. So you see what I'm saying? So a lot of companies today, they're trying to beg Microsoft to put this guy right here and this guy right here into one platform. This over here is old legacy. This is backwards compatibility mode at this point now. This needs to go away so that this is unified. But the thing is, you leave out the millions and millions of games backwards compatible with Windows today. That's why this still exists. So when this loads this one or this one, it's slow. These two needs to go away. This needs to be one platform. But this is what Microsoft sells like a console. Okay? So, what Microsoft wants to do is merge these two right here. This one is going to become a legacy backwards compatibility mode. Okay?
Kits that held many games hostage on one platform until the devs had the time and resources to port over their game.
Like I said. So,
the unified GDK now, at least from Microsoft, can hopefully result in something approaching console-level optimization and availability on the PC.
Again, the GDK seamlessly supports Windows, Xbox, and xCloud. We're not focused on cloud right now. We're trying to focus on these two. Okay? But these are separate. Okay? Windows is legacy for the most part. Xbox is trying to merge into this one. But Windows is trying to merge into this one also. And game developers have to code their games to work on both platforms. In addition to cloud. But in the future, both of these will become one part. And then this is going to be the second mode. The xCloud is going to be this thing right here, this TV. So you're going to use your controller and the TV. That's it. That's where we're at.
PC and Xbox mode on PC is a part of this same push that Microsoft is making for platform unification and treating their PC gaming customers like first-class citizens. Also, even if it doesn't have much benefit today, I do still think that there's hope for ongoing optimization. I wouldn't blame you for thinking, how in the Sam Hill is Xbox mode different from Steam Big Picture mode? But there is a difference, and it's in being a system versus an app level UI. Xbox mode.
That's the other confusion. Okay? All of this is apps. That includes this part right here. Okay? So, this is an app. That's 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 an app. But, when you click the Windows button and you bring up the apps, sometimes it brings up System 32.
It replaces the traditional Windows interface. All the icons, the start menu, everything. Poof. On the other hand, Big Picture mode is simply an app that is sitting on top of Windows and has no...
This is the archaic old version of Windows. So, you can liken this idea to a cloud-based Windows mode. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I got from that, what he just said.
Ability to shoo away background processes.
See? As he mentions, the taskbar is down there, and you can't remove it, even though that you're in a Windows platform. So, it's not really Xbox mode at that point. So
with that in mind, you would think that there would be a benefit to using it already, but hey, this is Microsoft, so we actually found that when we were playing a Steam game in particular, we ended up using more RAM in Xbox mode than in Steam Big Picture mode just running over top of regular Windows. This is most likely because Steam opens up anyway on Xbox mode, and Big Picture users don't need to open up the Xbox app. The other difference is that Big Picture mode is, if we're being honest, quite a bit cleaner to use. So even though we're hoping for the best for Xbox mode, and we expect it to continue to get better, you're probably going to want to stick with Big Picture mode for the time being. That is, unless you really value Xbox mode's automatic detection of both Steam and non...
So, right now, at this point of time, Steam is exactly what he just said. It's in Windows mode. It's also in Xbox mode. I don't know. Oh my god, it's so confusing. But he's not wrong. So at this point, that's how it's going on right now. And this interface right here is a new way of putting Steam into Windows 11 without blocking Steam from the actual platform, which is Windows. Epic Games Store is doing pretty much the same thing as Steam, but Steam created their own operating system, not necessarily to compete against Microsoft, but like he said, the way the code is designed, it's not to play Steam games natively on the actual Windows 11 platform, but more so to play in Windows mode. Okay, if that makes sense. That goes for Epic Games Store, so they're gonna do the same thing as Steam. So, but for now, that's where we're at for now.
Steam games, and you are A-OK with not being able to use more than one display while Xbox mode is Xboxing. In conclusion, while Xbox mode is most certainly half-baked today, Microsoft is trending towards a world where it will be even more likely that
Hold on.
the game you want to play will be available on the platform you already own, regardless of whether it's an Xbox or a PC. So the attitude...
So let me go back here.
will be available.
Come on, dude. Can I?
Heading towards a world where
Okay, so when they talk about Xbox on PC, that's the mode that they're talking about. Xbox Cloud is xCloud. Xbox Play Anywhere is basically Xbox on PC. So if you have a tablet, if you have a phone, Xbox Play Anywhere is going to use the same system. Xbox Game Pass is just basically the same thing as Xbox on PC. But you're using a subscription model to do that. So Xbox Series X and S is a separate platform, but it's using the Windows platform. Okay? So what they're trying to do is make it simple, like Project Helix, Xbox on PC, and then Xbox Cloud. But this is going to disappear eventually, okay? Because Xbox Cloud is going to be in Project Helix. Okay? Xbox Cloud is currently in Xbox in PC. Okay? So once Project Helix comes out, this goes away, and then these two are the logos that are gonna be persistent. So Project Helix has to be over here, and has to be the persistent logo from now on. But Xbox Cloud is gonna go away. It's gonna be right here instead. Okay? It's gonna be right here also. Okay? So that's where we're at.
even more likely that the game you want to play will be available on the platform you already own, regardless of whether it's an Xbox or a PC. So the
This
attitude
is
has
already
improved.
explained
They just
in the
need to
first
get their act
part
together
of
before
this
people
video.
try this
So
thing, realize it's not worth it, and then never try it again.
that'll be all for this video. Like, subscribe, talk about College Tech 360, share the video, do all that jazz. I'll see you guys later. See ya.